Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the nerdiest competition ever created by the Language of Bromance team. In this corner, obsessed with Star Wars and anything with swords, Richard! And in this corner, obsessed with the Ninja Turtles and scared of anything from the ocean, Shion! Brought to you as a Pod Bros exclusive in association with the LOB Army. Tonight's competition is a Language of Bromance draft.
What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Sean.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. And today it's Richard v. Sean. Huh? Because it...
Show me the draft! Because we're doing the Batman draft, bitches! Woo-hoo-hoo!
He's so excited.
This, Richard, is our 16th Language of Bromance draft. And today, in honor of Batman v Superman, which you or I have not seen yet.
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So we have not seen the new Batman v Superman movie yet, so there's none of that stuff in here, but we are doing the moments, the things, anything Batman that we love in our 16th draft. So just to kind of give you some of the highlights of what our drafts are. It's a 7-round NFL-style draft. When we did this back in the day, we flipped a penny, and I won. So on odd drafts, I get the first pick. On even drafts, Richard gets the first pick. And this is an even draft, and it is probably our most fought-over thing. And this time, we both get to pick 14 of them in this draft.
What? We're doing 14?
Well, no, we're doing 7 rounds, but each one gets the pick. So it's 14 total Batman things.
Yeah.
Math. Woo!
I forgot math. I forgot how to do math for a second. I think it's worth noting the reason we pick Batman moments is because, I mean, come on, it's fucking Batman, right?
Yeah.
I think that we both have not hidden our super infatuation with the character of Batman.
Yeah, we were going to do a Superman draft, but we're both like, well, is he in 14 things with Batman? Because that's what people would pick.
What about that time he hit a guy? Was Batman there? Yeah, I think he was.
That's my number one. All right, so Richard, if you want to kick this off, you get the first round pick in this Batman draft.
There's so many. See, that's the thing is that there's so many to choose from, and you have. I mean, we hit the 75 years that we've had to fall in love with this character. So great. So for my first pick, I'm delving into the world of comics because I feel that, you know, that's the bread and butter. If we're talking about Batman stories, I mean, there's movies, yeah, there's television, sure, but comics. And also, like, I have to put my cred out there, my comic nerd cred.
You don't want to just be like, oh yeah, I saw a movie. It's like, no, I've seen the Bible that is Batman.
Oh, and this moment is in the Bible. This is the Batman Bible. This is a comic. This is a comic series that I think was definitive for the entire Batman storyline. And in a way, I feel set the tone not only for the way Batman comics were written and created from that point forward. I'm also going to say, actually, it for a fact, it influenced tons. It filtered its way into all the other mediums. It filtered its way into the movies, into the TV show, into video games. I am going with, for one specific moment, I'm going to go with the very end of Alan Moore's series, The Killing Joke.
Ooh, okay, that is. I mean, go ahead, sell me on the Killing Joke.
Okay. So the whole story of the Killing Joke is the Joker escapes Arkham. Actually, Batman's going to see him at Arkham basically to try to reason with him. And I think it's very poignant to say that Batman's going to go try and reason with the Joker. But I think that in his mind, he's like, I have to try at least once. At least there has to be at least one time where I say, why don't you just stop what you're doing? Like, I can punch him in the face till my hands broke, but there has to be a moment where I actually try and reason with him. So anyway, so Joker escapes Arkham Asylum, and he basically comes up with he tries to prove to Gotham City that everybody is one step away from becoming him. And to prove that, he kidnaps Commissioner Gordon, but before that, he shoots Barbara Gordon in the back, breaks her.
This is when she, okay.
Yes, this is where Barbara Gordon breaks her. This is where Barbara Gordon ends up paralyzed. Batgirl gets broken. So he shoots Barbara Gordon in the back. Then, while she's laying there bleeding out, he's taken a bunch of he takes a bunch of pictures, a bunch of Polaroids, and then it's kind of unclear, but I'm not sure, he might have raped her. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I've kind of followed up on that, and that's always kind of the thing. It's like, yeah, it's kind of unclear, and it's very dark and creepy, but...
Yeah, it's left ambiguous. So anyway, so then he kidnaps Commissioner Gordon, proceeds to, like, show him all these pictures and, talk to him and demean him and basically try to drive him insane. Well, Batman finds out, and Batman, helps Barbara and then, gets her to a hospital and then goes to save Jim, saves Jim, and I mean, Jim's beat up and he's, a little scarred, but he's okay. Like, he's not, crazy. He basically tells Batman, he's like, you have to, capture him, bring him in. We need to do this by the book. We have to prove to him that our system works. So he goes into this fun house and he deals with all these traps and blah, blah, blah. He ends up beating the Joker up. And finally, at one point, that moment that he was going to do in the first place, he finally says to him, he's like, you and I are going to do this until one of us kills each other. He's like, Batman's like, that's the only way this ends. One of us is going to kill the other person. But it doesn't have to be like that. We can stop. You can stop. And why, if you would just do that, then nobody has to die. Neither one of us has to die. And the Joker says, even if I wanted to believe that, I don't think that I could. He's like, it reminds me of a joke. So he tells this joke. And the joke is that there's two men in an insane asylum. And they decide that they're going to escape. So they make a rope and they manage to get onto the roof and they see the city. And the city's, that's their freedom. And it's on the other side of this wall. But they see that on the other side of the wall is another building. So all they have to do is jump from the roof of the one building onto the next building and they're home free. So the first guy jumps over the building or jumps over the wall and makes it to the other building. And the second guy's like, I don't know if I can do it. So the first guy pulls out a flashlight and shines it on the other building. And he's like, okay, just walk across this beam of light and you'll make it to the other side. And the second guy's like, what am I, crazy? You're going to turn it off halfway through? And Batman laughs. And Batman laughs his ass off. And that's how the comic ends. So it's actually, and the way the panels go, it's actually somewhat unclear. Some people think that he actually kills the Joker at the end of that.
Yeah, I remember hearing, because you see the laughter and then all of a sudden, like the last panel, it stops, right?
Yeah, well, you see some dirty water or something on the ground, but some people say that that's blood because he grabs the Joker while he's laughing, and some people are like, oh, he choked him. He basically just choked him until he died. So it's always that's always been like a big like point of contention. Like, did he kill the Joker? Did he not kill the
Yeah, I thought I read recently or heard recently that somebody like made it sound more like it was a Joker that was laughing maniacally or crazily, and then the Batman basically broke his neck.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing, is it's left really ambiguous, so you don't actually know.
Has the author ever like stepped out on that and mentioned?
I think he did. I think there was a Fat Man on Batman interview where he might have said something about it. I don't recall the interview off the top of my head, but I think he talked about it a little bit. But okay, so that comic was a very darker comic, which, like I said, I think tonally set Batman for the next 20 years, because then you have, Tim Burton's version, you have, Chris Nolan's version and stuff like that. But it directly influenced one person, and that was Heath Ledger. Because when Heath Ledger took on the role for the Joker and from what I understand, he locked himself in a hotel room and spent, spent a month working on developing that character you see on screen. That Joker was him, the way he developed that character, the only comic he had to go on was The Killing Joke.
Yeah, because didn't he have like his own notebook that he wrote a bunch of stuff and like basically tried to become that persona?
Right. So, I mean, everybody that praises Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker, they can attribute that directly to this comic, The Killing Joke. So that's my first round pick.
That's a solid pick. That was on my list. That was definitely on my list. They're going to make a DC animated Killing Joke, right?
I did. And actually, the one thing I heard is that Mark Hamill even said, I'm not really keen on doing the voice of the Joker again, but if I did, I'd do The Killing Joke. He's like, I would come back and do the voice for The Killing Joke.
That'd be awesome.
Oh my God, wouldn't it?
So my first round pick for this draft. So you, I would say, probably have dived more into the Batman mythos than I have. I didn't watch a ton of the cartoons. I didn't really get into the comic until recently, about 3 or 4 years ago when the New 52 came out. So I was going through my things that, like, what was my introduction to Batman? What was my first, like, experience with Batman? And I had to pull from the 1989 Batman flick when this was the Batman. This is the real Batman, the dark, gritty Batman.
Yeah.
And I am going to go with the scene, the very, very opening of this movie, where Batman knocks those two mugs up, and he's holding the one dude over the thing. He's like, "Don't kill me, man. I'm not going to kill you."
Oh.
"What are you?" "I'm Batman." Chucks the dude across the thing, flips out his wings, takes a nice little flight out. Old dude kind of looks over and has that weird kind of cough, choke thing. I don't know what the hell that was, but
this was on my list. Quite high up, actually.
It was like, if this is your introduction, like whenever you think of I'm Batman, that's what it is. This guy is freaking the fuck out. He's like, "What are you, man?" He's a junkie. Batman's like, "I need you to do me a favor." I need you to go down to the store and pick me up some polish for my boots.
Make sure it's black polish. No, he didn't have the angry voice. I mean, he went, like, Michael Keaton went low for that voice, but he didn't go all like growly like Christian Bale did.
Yeah, his is more of I'm Batman. Batman. Little gruff, but not much. This was when you got the actual good suit, because before this, all you had was Batman 66.
Right. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Like I said, this was my first real introduction to Batman. I didn't really know a lot of the bad guys from Batman, except whenever they released those movies. I didn't know about Penguin and Catwoman until I saw Batman Returns. I didn't know about, everybody else until I saw the movies. Because I didn't know anybody that was into the comics. The cartoon was on a channel I didn't get back then, so I didn't really get to see a lot of that stuff.
I'm so sorry.
1989 Batman was on constant loop in my house, and it was dark. It was, it's kind of what made me fall in love with Tim Burton, even though he never read any comics. He had no idea what Batman was, really.
But given that, I mean, I think he he hit more of the like I said, I think he pulled a lot from, like the Alan Moore and, Denny O'Neil and those guys that kind of reworked Batman in the 80s to be that kind of the gritty, the detective kind of guy,
Yeah, I mean, he did a great job with it, I think. It's I mean, you're looking at, in my recent memory, there's the Tim Burton kind of trilogy, there's the Nolan trilogy, and now you're going to get this newer run of Batman. And I mean, of the three, we haven't seen the new one yet, but it still holds up, I think. It's not the greatest thing ever. I mean, you can kind of say it's like, oh, that's too campy. But, I think it still holds up. It gives you what you want for a Batman.
Well, and also, I mean, you're talking about like comic book. This is a comic book movie that came out in 89. And at that point, the only comic book movie we had that kind of worked was Superman.
Yeah. I mean, the sets were awesome on this. I mean, it looked like you're looking at a comic book come to life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to go for my first round pick. I'm going to go with the 1989 Batman opening. I'm Batman.
Okay. So my number 2. This is from a cartoon, not the Batman animated series. This is the Justice League. And before I start, can I say that when you read the Batman comic, do you not hear Kevin Conroy's voice in your head?
Yeah, that's what you hear.
Always anymore. Like I don't know what the voice was when I was a kid reading the comics, but now whenever I read the comics, it's Kevin Conroy's voice. No matter what. They got somebody new that's doing the voice for the newer movies. Like, it's not Kevin Conroy. I don't know who. I can't remember the name of the guy that's doing the voice for Batman for the last 2 or 3 DC animated movies that came out. He's not bad. Not to take away from him. He's not bad. But Kevin Conroy, between the animated series, the Justice League cartoon, and a few of the DC animated movies, no comparison. So my moment is in the Justice League cartoon. I want to say this is the very last episode that they came out with. I've actually talked about this moment before. It's about Terry McGinnis, who plays Batman in the Batman Beyond cartoon.
Oh yeah.
He's trying. He finally figures out. Spoilers, but I don't know. He figures out that he is a kind of an indirect, like an in vitro son of Bruce Wayne, and so he goes to figure out why this happened and how it happened and whatever. And he goes to meet Amanda Waller, who ran a government project in the cartoon and also in the comics. For Amanda Waller is the character that's going to put together the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
So in the comic or in the cartoon, he meets Amanda Waller, and she's talking to him about Bruce. And she's like, I want to explain to you the kind of person that Batman is. And she tells the story, and they kind of flash back to where the Royal Flush Gang is attacking, something. And one of the members, her name is Ace, her powers are getting out of control where she's able to actually manipulate reality. And she's on the verge of going basically nuclear and destroying, hundreds of square miles. And so Amanda Waller has this device that's going to kill her. And she says, this is the only thing that's going to stop her. And Batman's like, here, I'll do it. And takes the device and walks off. And so he goes into this augmented reality where Ace is sitting there on a swing set. And that's when you find out that Ace is a 9-year-old girl, probably no more than 10, sitting there on a swing. And the moment I have is the two of them just having this conversation where she's like, I let you in because I knew you weren't going to use Mrs. Waller's device on me. And he pulls it out of his pocket and he's like, no, you're right, I'm not. And he throws it on the ground. And then she's like, you're here to convince me to stop. And he's like, yeah, I am. And she's like, I don't want to die. I'm scared. And then you see tears well up in her eyes. And she's like, will you sit with me? And he doesn't say anything. And he goes over to the swing next to her and he sits down on the swing next to her. And in that moment, I bawled my fucking eyes out. I lost my shit. I was an adult. I was probably, that cartoon came out, I was in my, mid late 20s. And I just lost it. I was like, it's so beautiful. Lost my shit. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I'm watching a cartoon. Crying my eyes out.
I'm just going to go watch Toy Story 3 as a palate cleanser.
I honestly, that was honestly the first moment for me that I was like, this. It's kind of, I think it was that moment where you realize that these characters and this stuff means a lot more than you think it means to you.
Yeah, DC Animated does a great job with that, where it makes it more, you see a lot more of the character development, and they're a lot deeper than just, punching people in the face. There is a lot of that. But this definitely gives you more of that, just that depth to the characters.
Yeah, and it's a depth that, kids watch it and, they're like, hey, it's a cartoon. And yeah, they're punching each other and la, la, la. And oh, they're having a moment and whatever. And it's cool. But I was, like I said, like, it's something that in my mid-20s, like, fucking just gutted me in the heart. And I think I think that's a testament to say that, hey, they're not just fucking cartoons. Like, don't talk down. Don't talk down about something just because it's animated.
Oh no, you watch some of the stuff that they do with that, and they take right from the comics, which a lot of people make fun of comics not being art or not being, actual good works of fiction. And there's some great stuff that people are doing with comics.
Oh my God, it's amazing. Things that you probably wouldn't see in a movie.
Oh, no. Yeah, because you can't do it, or they're just too scared to do it.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, there you go. Moment number 2. I feel like I'm droning on about these a bit long, but moment number 2 is Justice League Batman with Ace.
All right, so my second round pick, this was a fairly recent comic in the sprint of the New 52. They also just recently made it into a DC animated movie called Batman vs. Robin. I am going to go with a scene where Batman takes on the Court of Owls in his cave.
Yeah.
And Alfred gets to rock a shotgun.
Yeah.
And Batman gets to just shout this great line. He comes out in his big Batman robot suit. He just says, "Get the hell out of my cave." And just repeatedly starts beating the shit out of all these Talons. So I started getting into comics right after first Avengers movie came out. I'd always wanted to get into comics, but
right, I remember because you were really into Hawkeye, so you picked up a few Hawkeye books, and then I think you picked up Batman too, right?
Yeah. So I don't know a lot of people that were into comics. I knew you were a little bit, but you and I never really talked about them.
Right.
So I made that trip to my comic book shop, and I'm like, well, what the hell do I want to read? And I'm like, well, I liked Hawkeye. I'll do Hawkeye. Obviously, I like Batman, so I'm going to pick up Batman. And the New 52 had just come out about 6 or 7 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little bit behind, but in this day and age, you can get on eBay, you can get somewhere and get your comics that you need at whatever price. And these were just out, so I didn't have to spend a crap ton of money. So going through these, you get this, Scott Snyder starts this brand new idea, which I'm pretty sure it's a brand new idea. I don't think this is
the Court of Owls.
Yeah, I don't think this is any mythos.
Yeah.
So this guy gets free run over the Batman main title, and they're like, go crazy, do whatever you want. And he creates just the coolest idea ever. It gives Gotham so much depth that, there's this underground group of people that create these, semi-assassin crime-fighting things called Talons, and they basically want to, destroy the Waynes and Batman.
Yeah.
And you get they figure out where Batman is and they break in. There's a whole big thing of, I think they called it the Night of the Owls, where it stretched over 7 or 8 different, comics of Batman, because there's like the
Yeah,
Batman.
I don't remember. I got the whole arc in the novel, like in graphic novel form. I didn't get it issue to issue.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things. Like when I first picked up Batman, I'm like, oh, well, there's no Joker. Like I was wanting the Joker right away, but you get 2 or 3 issues into the Court of Owls series, and you're like, okay, I don't give a fuck about the Joker.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here?
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, and they break in. You can see badass Alfred blowing people away with a shotgun, and like they did a fantastic job putting this in the DC animated movie. It just brought that to life, and well, I mean, there's just so much to that I enjoy, and like that just kind of it kind of shows one bad thing I hate about the Batman series is that this run wasn't too bad, but a lot of the newer Batman, they stretch over all the different titles. So you can easily read Batman number 37. When you pick up 38, there's 6 or 7 things that have happened across different titles. So if you didn't read Robin, you don't know what's going on.
They don't really like link together.
Yeah, you're like, what happened to this guy? Why is Alfred missing a hand? Oh, he lost it in Suicide Squad's 52. You're like, what the fuck? I don't read that.
Yeah, and it's all also like because you're with a lot of them. There's different continuities because the New 52 is fairly new, but they're still sometimes referencing material that's not in the New 52.
Oh, like the Bane situation and things like that. Like they reference a lot of that stuff. Like the Batman mythos is still there. It's just a new go.
Yeah, and so I understand how it's very daunting for people to get into comics because they feel like they're not going to, understand. They're not going to understand, why they're going to, because so much has happened. You're talking about such a wealth of material that you feel like you're almost jumping into the deep end.
Yeah, well, it's like, well, where the hell did that T-Rex come from? Why is there a big penny? Where'd that big-ass card come from?
Right. But I would say to that, if you feel that way, if you feel very daunted when it comes to something like Batman, pick up a graphic novel. You've got, the whole Dark Knight Returns series, which we're just getting part 3 now.
Yeah.
Part 3 just came out, what?
November? 2 or 3 months ago. Yeah, November, something like that.
So you've got the whole Dark Knight Returns series. There's the Batman Incorporated. Just pick up a graphic novel. You get a whole story and you get it encapsulated in one book. And yeah, some of those they run about, 10, 20, 15, 20 bucks. Some of the bigger ones can get up to like $40, but I think there you get an entire Batman story, and it doesn't you don't feel that sense of being overwhelmed being in a larger universe.
But what I liked about this too is the Court of Owls. It was probably a good it was probably a good 12 to 16 issues, and it didn't really feel like it crossed too many of the other titles. It started to kind of towards the middle, but since it was that big reboot, they tried to keep everything more focused, and I think it just created a great story.
Yeah. There was a moment in the Court of Owls that I liked. It's this Court of Owls moment is actually on my list. But in the comic, he's running through the labyrinth. Like he gets captured by the court, and they put him in this labyrinth, and it starts to get really disorienting. And at one point, you're reading the actual comic. It was a very kind of fourth wall thing. You're reading the comic, and you look and you notice that 2 pages kind of look almost exactly the same. And then you realize they are exactly the same. And then at one point you realize that you're holding the comic backwards.
Yeah, and there's like one where it's upside down.
Yeah. And you're just like, holy shit, this comic's fucking with my brain. That was the moment I had when it came to the Court of Owls.
So I'm going to go for my second round pick. I'm going to go Batman Court of Owls. Get the hell out of my cave.
Very nice, very nice. Okay. So for my third pick, I'm delving into dipping my toe in one of the other genres, which is one of the things I love about Batman. He's across all mediums. The moment I'm going with is the very first time that I ever played Arkham City. Now, I've read Batman comics since I was a kid. I saw I saw Batman in 1989. I saw the Batman movies, seen them all, even all of it. The animated series, Justice League cartoon. And at that time, there were Batman games. There was a Batman game for the Nintendo Entertainment System that was based off of the movie. I played that. I liked it. Arkham Asylum, yes, but even I would say Arkham City even more so. This was the very first time I have ever actually felt like I was fucking Batman. Not just because I'm, punching people and, you're doing combos and somebody goes to kick and you tap a button and you grab their foot and throw them on the ground and, you're beating people up and it's all fine and good. But you had fucking gadgets. You had gadgets galore in that game. There's you're shooting your grappling hook and flying up into the air and gliding with your cape, and you've got a decryptor, so you're undoing electronic locks. You've got smoke pellets. There's a bat claw that you're using to run zip lines, and oh my god, you had all the toys. You were Batman with all the toys.
I remember you talking. I've never played any of those games, but I remember you always talking about like that feeling is like this is the closest you'll ever feel to being like Batman.
Oh, dude, pick up one of them. Pick up Arkham City, and I guarantee 30 minutes in, you're gonna be like, I'm fucking Batman, and like Tiffany's gonna come in. What are you doing? Nothing.
Where's the trigger? Where's the A trigger?
Sean, I swear.
Swear to me.
There you go. You're welcome. But yeah, you had all the fucking toys and you're beating people up. And then you have detective mode where you tap a button. Okay, like you walk up on something and you're trying to piece together what happened and what's going on. So you hit detective mode and then it's basically it sets up like a crime scene. And so you're looking around and trying to you're analyzing shit. There's at one point you see somebody gets killed and you're like, how did this guy get killed? And so you figure out that somebody had shot a bullet that ricocheted off something and hit him in the head. And then you figure out it's Deadshot because Deadshot's the only person that can make that kind of shot. And so then you use your brain to figure out the trajectory of the fucking bullet to figure out where he shot the gun from.
So it's not really that you're using your actual noggin, but you're using Batman's brain.
Oh my god, you are. Oh, it's so. Oh, loved it. Loved that whole. Oh, awesome. So awesome. So there you go. Third round moment. Arkham Asylum was good. In Arkham Asylum, it was the first. It was the first of that where it does like the detective mode in the crime scene, and you're sneaking around and taking people out. But I think Arkham City added a whole new element to it because you're actually outside. You're in a section of Gotham City, and you're flying around, and you're seeing the buildings and the rooftops, and it's awesome. Awesome.
All right, so for my third round pick, again, I'm going to probably have a lot of movies and like not too many video games and things like that because you are more of the Batman connoisseur than I am. But I am going to go with, I am on record as saying that I did not enjoy the Nolan trilogy, but there is a scene in The Dark Knight, actually there's two scenes, but this is probably my favorite, that absolutely made me fall in love with Heath Ledger's character. So, coming into this, it was Heath Ledger, this is the dude from Brokeback and A Knight's Tale, like how the hell is he going to be the Joker? And I am going with the mob scene in The Dark Knight, where the group of mob men are sitting around the TV when the guy's saying, I just took all your money, I got your money safe, you're fine, Batman's not going to find me. And in walks the Joker.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that gets me, everybody's tried their hand at it, and basically he's like, I'm going to show you a magic trick. And he, I'm going to make this pen disappear. Ta-da! And the whole, it's just the bantering back and forth with everybody. They ask him, it's like, well, why are you going to do this? Because why are you going to do this for us? And he's like, well, if you're good at something, you'll never do it for free. And
You can just take our money and walk out of here? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, how much do you want? Half. And the dude is like, you're crazy. He's like, I'm not crazy. I'm not. And that's when Gamble gets all pissed off. He's like, "Oh, don't blow our tops." But I mean, it's like whenever I think of the Joker's craziness, that was I feel like that movie missed so many great opportunities, but they killed it on that. And you have to, Heath Ledger just did a fantastic job. If I could take every part out of that movie besides Heath Ledger's scenes, it would make for a million times better movie. Like, I can watch those scenes over and over and over.
And it makes you wonder, like, what would The Dark Knight Rises, what would it have been? Would it have had him in it? And if it did, like, where would they have gone?
I don't know. I mean, they didn't kill him, so he was still there. And I mean, yeah, it's one of those things that hopefully. I mean, I know he probably had an idea. Nolan had an idea for a third movie because they knew they were going to make a trilogy.
Right.
I guarantee you they weren't going to have him in it. If they weren't going to have him in it, they'd kill him off. But he was still alive.
He was.
And it was like, he passed away. And it's like, well, we don't want to recast him because I wish they probably would have done that, recasted him as somebody else. You could have Johnny Depp or you could have found somebody to do that.
Well, yeah, but at that point you're talking, I mean, I don't think they would have recast him because, I mean, at that point, like you're talking about that movie had been out, 2 years? When The Dark Knight Rises came out, about 2 years between the release of The Dark Knight and the release of Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, something like that.
So, I mean, I think that a lot of people would have seen that in poor taste, not to mention the fact that everybody loved his performance.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that sucked is they just kind of made a poor third movie. If they would have...
Yeah.
I felt like they're like, well, we can't do our original idea, so let's throw Bane in there. We'll get Tom Hardy, and he can play Bane.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going on a happy note. Not really happy because he shoves a pencil through a dude's head, but I'm going to go with the mob scene. If you're good at something, don't do it for free.
Oh, nice. Okay, my 4th round pick. You know what? You say what you will. You talked about your first introduction to Batman was, Michael Keaton in 1989. I didn't have that. You know what I had? I had Adam West. And you laugh, but Adam West was Batman to me. He used batarangs. He was punching people. He had gadgets. He had the Bat computer. He was like Gene Simmons with labeling shit. Like everything was the Bat something. He had Bat pellets. He had the Bat copter, the Bat boat, the Batmobile. Adam West was my Batman. And so for my 4th round pick, I am going with a moment that is kind of funny, but at the same time I think was kind of cool to me. And it's Adam West doing the Bat dance.
Okay.
Have you ever seen it? Have you
No,
seen it?
I've never seen it.
He does the thing where like he puts like the sideways peace sign over his eyes and then pulls them out.
Okay.
Puts like the peace, like I can't. Obviously I can't. It's a podcast. I can't mime it. I mean, I can't. I'm doing it right now, but nobody's seeing me. He's slightly drugged and he's dancing. He's doing the Bat dance. Adam West is a good Batman, and I'll defend that man to the hilt.
he took. They made that thing so campy, and I had a couple of those moments on my list. Because I watched those at Grandma's house. They were in syndication, seeing the Bat Pow whack slam, and the phone.
Yeah. But you still were like all in it. I was all in on that. I knew that Batman was more than what was being portrayed on the 66 television show. But I didn't care because I was like, it's fucking Batman. And he's on my television.
Yeah, I think I was, and between the ages of like 3 to 7. So I mean, yeah, it was cartoon Batman, but in real life.
Yeah. And you had all the villains. You had Joker and Penguin and Catwoman and and then they had other villains that you were like, what the fuck? Like like it was King Tut and Egghead.
Wasn't there like a clock guy in that?
Yeah. Oh, same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah, now how can you not love that theme song?
I know. Batman.
I'm sure you've seen it, but you know there is like a Batman 66 porn parody, right?
Yeah. Oh, and you had the crossover with the crossover episode with the Green Hornet.
Oh yeah, Batman 66 and the Green Hornet.
Yeah. Well, not just the comic. There was the comic that Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman did, but I'm talking about the actual episode where the Green Hornet and Kato were on Batman.
Did they just do one episode or did they do a couple?
I think they might have done two. Like I can't remember. Oh, loved it. Because then it was like, oh my God, worlds are colliding. It was so much for my 7-year-old brain. I'm like, what is happening?
These are guys from different shows. Mom, can they do that?
And they did do it. I think that was actually probably my introduction to Bruce Lee.
Oh, was Bruce Lee Kato?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was Yeah. That was my introduction to Bruce Lee. Now that I think about it, was seeing him as Kato on Batman 66. Oh, yeah. But I was trying to think of it one moment, and I'm like, whenever I think of Adam West as Batman, I think of him doing the Bat Dance. And that's not even, and I don't, that's not to say that it wasn't a good show. Like, I'm not saying that, sarcastically, or I'm not saying it ironically. Like, Batman doing the Bat Dance, I'm like, that's the show, and that was good. And I loved it. Loved every single minute of it.
So whenever you go out, do you do the Bat Dance?
Sometimes. You know who made a song called Bat Dance that was on the soundtrack to 1989's Batman? Prince. Bat Dance. There you go. Moment number 4, Adam West doing the Bat Dance.
All right, so my 4th round pick. So I've seen the cartoon a few times, and I've seen a few episodes. But again, like the '89 Batman Returns, those are my Batman, introduction movies. Those are the things that showed me what Batman was. And I'm gonna go with, for my 4th round pick, I'm gonna go with the opening of the Batman the Animated Series, the scrawling, opening to the cartoon. You see, this is basically they took a comic and they put it on TV. Or they put it on the big screen for Batman and Batman Returns. They took that and then they put it into a cartoon and made it the introduction. You got the Batmobile that matches pretty close. All the skyscrapers and everything match. You get the badass Batman outfit fighting and punching everybody.
Zeppelins.
Yes, the Zeppelins. You've got the music in that thing is so dark and creepy. It's my dark Batman that I enjoy so much, and that introduction of that cartoon gave that to you. Yeah, it's a very gritty. It's a cartoon for kids, but it's dark and it's. I don't know a ton about I haven't seen a ton of the episodes, but that introduction just gives you exactly what. If you've seen those first 2 movies, that's it's a very easy transition to the cartoon. You feel like it's the same universe.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And you talk about DC animation. There's your genesis. It was that Batman animated series. One of the reasons that I think you like it so much today is because that was kind of where it started, where the stories that Paul Dini came up with and the art that Bruce Timm came up with. Yes, it was a show that was geared for kids, but there are themes in that appealed to adults.
Oh yeah, you don't feel like you're watching. I don't know if it's a good example, but you watch like the Teen Titans cartoon today. It's not bad, but it's definitely more for kids. this was something that kids could watch Batman beat the shit out of somebody, but adults could watch it for the actual storyline.
Batman, the Batman animated series led to the Superman animated series, and then those together led to the Justice League animated series. And
wasn't there a Batman and Superman cartoon too that built off that?
Well, there was a couple episodes. There were a few episodes where they kind of crossed over into each other.
Gotcha.
And actually, the first time they crossed over, that's when Batman figures out that Superman's Clark Kent, and Superman figures out that Batman's Bruce Wayne. Like, Superman uses his X-ray vision to look through the cowl and see that it's Bruce Wayne, but then Batman throws a tracker on Superman, and so Clark's laying down to go to sleep, and he kind of feels something, and he picks up this little tracker and then looks out the window, and like way off in the distance, you see Batman with fucking binoculars. Like, I know who you are too. I know who you are too, motherfucker.
I know where you sleep. And it's not in a mansion, because I live in a mansion.
Bitch.
So for my 4th round pick, I'm going to go with the opening of the Batman the Animated Series.
Hey everyone, this is Tom from the Say What Podcast, and I would love it if you'd swing over to saywhatpodcast.com to check us out as soon as you're done listening to this show. We handpick real news articles to poke fun at every week, like a lady from Florida attacking her boyfriend with a ceramic squirrel, or kids rubbing chapstick in their eyes to get high, or the guy who got arrested for repeatedly having sex with an inflatable pool shark. Yeah, I think you get the point. So tune into the Say What Podcast every Friday on iTunes, Stitcher, and at saywhatpodcast.com.
Okay. I am going with another moment that I've talked about, and it's in a movie that's actually, I believe, titled Supergirl Apocalypse. It's either Superman Apocalypse or Supergirl Apocalypse. I actually don't remember the title. I was trying to look it up. I couldn't find it. But it's a DC anime movie. Through the course of it, it's kind of tells the origin story of Supergirl, and then what ends up happening is Darkseid comes and basically convinces Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, to come to Apocalypse with her and be kind of like her, head minion. And so Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman go to try and bring her back. Superman, does what he does. He shows up and he starts punching things, and he gets in a fight he ends up fighting Supergirl, so the two of them are fighting each other. Wonder Woman gets in a fight like she does with some other people. Batman, like Batman does, saves the fucking day by finding Darkseid's armory. And he finds these devices called Hellspores. Now, for people unfamiliar, the Hellspore is a type of bomb that creates basically a fire pit inside a planet. It goes off and it creates basically a hole down almost to the Earth's core, and it creates this fire pit that wreaks havoc on the world. So Batman and Supergirl are fighting, and Wonder Woman's fighting, and Darkseid's just sitting there watching this whole thing going on with his smug look of glee. And then Batman strolls in, and he's like, I can't remember the exact words, but basically he said, there's one thing you forgot, and that's your armory, the Hellspores. And Darkseid's like, what are you talking about? He said, I reprogrammed the Hellspores because they're now armed. And Darkseid's like, no, the code's encrypted. And then Batman's like, Omega Lambda 7X9. You think I'm bluffing? And then Darkseid starts to get pissed, and he's like, and Batman's like, here's what's going to happen. You're going to forswear Kara Zor-El, and you're going to give your word that you'll never bother them again. Or else this whole planet's going to become a tinderbox. And Darkseid picks him up, and he beats the shit out of him, picks him up, throws him through a pillar, then chokeholds him and throws him through and pushes him out through a wall. And Batman's like, say it. And then you see the smile creep on Darkseid's face, and he's like, well played.
That's your man right there. That's the genius. That's Batman.
And Darkseid's like, I wouldn't have expected this from the Kryptonian or the Amazon. He said, but you're a human and you kill your own kind. Or no, he said, that the Kryptonian and the Amazon wouldn't have been able to go through with it. Basically saying that, humans are terrible people, which is fine because Batman still won. So fuck him. What does he know? So yeah, I mean, that's one of your that's chalk that up to one of the Batman's a fucking badass moments. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's a mic drop Batman moment. As Batman's dancing, this is him dropping the mic on Darkseid.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. There isn't much more I could say about it because, like you said, it's the mic drop. So there you go. My number 5 is Batman. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what to call it. Batman saving the day, or Batman versus Darkseid. Beat Darkseid without throwing a fucking punch.
For my 5th round pick, I want to talk about something that I absolutely love when it comes to Batman. Like, you're talking about Batman 66 and how he has all these gadgets. He's got, the Batarang. He's got the Bat Shark spray.
Oh, yeah, Bat Shark spray. That must be perfect for you. That must be your favorite.
Yeah, I've got that cans of that all over the house. Some people spray, ant repellent around their house. I spray that stuff just in case. But I want to go with the one bat thing that, I'm not a car guy. I'm not a car guy whatsoever. I mean, I kind of like some, but I'm not the dude that's like, oh my God, that's a blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
But you show me the Batmobile and I'm in love. I love the Batman 66. I love all the Tim Burton Batmobiles. I don't really care for the Tumbler. The new Batmobile in Batman v Superman looks legit, but I want to talk about the greatness that is the Batmobile.
Yeah.
This is, it's got all the gadgets on its own. It, and you see in the first Batman, it puts this like awesome shield over itself as it's going through and attacking Joker's warehouse. I mean, how can you not love? I mean, this is almost as iconic as Batman himself. It's his vehicle.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how upset I was in the Nolan trilogy when it was just had a tumbler. Like, I was wanting a Batmobile. I was wanting something with a big ass bat symbol that said, "This is my ride, mother truckers. Everybody else rides shotgun. Only I drive this thing."
I mean, it's the fucking Batmobile. Have you ever seen the pictures where they kind of show how it evolved through the ages?
Yeah,
the different incarnations of the Batmobile.
Yeah, I haven't seen the one I saw was basically like the 66 through the Burtons, through the Nolan, all the way up to the new one.
Well, I mean, even in the comics where like it was different, like in the original comics, it was kind of a car that just had some paintings on it. And then I think like in the 50s, they put a battering ram on the front of it. And then it just how like it's kind of developed with the times. And now it's like a fucking mobile tank.
Yeah. Well, the Batman 66 always reminded me of like a Corvette, like a Stingray Corvette, because that was the big thing back then. But yeah, like now you have this badass tank that, isn't really for speed and looks. It's more for, ramming through walls and whenever it's about to explode, breaking down into a motorcycle. But I mean, it's one of those things that like kids love vehicles. I had like 4 or 5 of the Burton Batman, Hot Wheels cars. I had so many of those things. You're just driving around, and you know what? Whenever you have those races with all your Hot Wheels, who always won those races?
Batman. I had a Batmobile. I had the '89 Batmobile as a toy.
So of all of them, what's your favorite? What's your favorite Batmobile?
Ooh. I mean, I really like that. I mean, not to take away from the '89 Batmobile, because that thing was cool. I kind of like the Tumbler, and I'm not a fan of the Tumbler because it's more realistic or whatever, because it still isn't. I think I just like the way it looks.
I kind of like the new Batman v Superman one because it has that Tumblr look, but it still has like a distinct Batman look to it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the one that they have for the Batman v Superman, I haven't really got a chance to look at it like real up close. But it seems a lot similar to what you saw in it looks like kind of an amalgam between Tim Burton's 89 version and maybe some of the comics in the 80s.
Yeah, I'd see that.
Cuz I mean, I would say even his outfit looks very Frank Miller.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's the cowl with the short ears and the
somebody colored that with like the blues and everything. And I mean, it looks just like it. I mean, it looks super cool. But so for my 5th round pick in this Batman draft, I'm going to go with the Batmobile.
Oh, I've got this list and I'm like, I don't know what to pick. Again, I'm going with another animated film. This one is the DC animated movie Doom. Okay, and this is about the formation of the Legion of Doom. At the very beginning of the film, you see Mirror Master, which is an enemy of the Flash, manages to get inside the rear view mirror of the Batmobile. And he hides in that mirror until Batman gets back to the Batcave, and then Mirror Master jumps out and comes up to the Batcomputer and lays something on top of it and decrypts a file, and then disappears. What that file is apparently a contingency plan for every single member of the Justice League. So Batman decided to come up with a plan to take out every single member of the Justice League. And the Legion of Doom takes that plan, alters it so it's more lethal, and executes it. So the Legion of Doom basically attacks the original 7 founding members of the Justice League using Batman's plan. So Superman, guess what? Kryptonite bullet. Oh shit. Now what? Wonder Woman gets drugged and she starts fighting goes into a frenzy and starts fighting everybody. John Jones gets lit on fire and is unable to put himself out because of his Martian DNA. So I want to say Cyborg is the hero of that movie. He's the one that kind of saves the day for everybody. But at the very end of it, and this is my moment, at the very end of the movie, the original 7 members that are all sitting at a table, and there's Superman says, we need to take a vote on whether or not Batman should stay in the league because he came regardless of what happened, he still, conceived of a plan to take each and every single one of us out. And Wonder Woman's like, well, I think he should be allowed to say something in his defense. And they're like, okay, that makes sense. And Batman's like, my actions don't need any explanation. If I had to do it all over again, I would. And then he just stands up. He's like, if none of you can see the danger in having all of us together, then there's no place for me. And just fucking walks out.
He just excuses himself.
Yeah, he does. He really does. He's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. Aren't you going to apologize? Apologize for what? Fuck Batman. Fuck you. And so later on, or Batman's getting ready to leave, and Superman kind of catches up with him, and he's like, are you so arrogant that you didn't come up with a plan for yourself? And Batman's like, well, I have a plan for myself. It's you guys. He's like, yeah, it's going to take the other fucking 6 of you to take me out.
As he walks in, he's like, but I've got a plan for each one of you, motherfucker, so good luck.
Right?
Oh, Batman's such a badass.
Right? I think that's the thing that I mean, for me personally, and I think, in a way for a lot of people, it's not the fact that he punches the shit out of people. It's the fact that in any given situation, he is 5 steps ahead of everybody because he has taken the time to think about every single eventuality and has a contingency for every single variable. I think that's what people ask what his superpower is, and to say, oh, his superpower is his brain, I think that doesn't do it justice. His real strength is the fact that he has thought out every single possible outcome in any given situation and has a plan for every single eventuality. That's why he is such a fucking badass.
And then on all those other contingencies, he's got backup plans and probably, plans all the way through Double Z.
Exactly. He has backups on backups.
For my sixth round pick, again, I'm going to go back to another movie, but I'm going to go to kind of a villain on this movie. I was trying to think of kind of moments that maybe excited young Sean a little bit too much. And you probably remember in Batman Returns, Michelle Pfeiffer played Catwoman, and she had a very, very nice homemade outfit.
Yes,
and
she did.
The scene I'm going to go with is when she is in the sporting goods store, and she the funny scene is when the two cops stop by and see her breaking and stuff, and they say, I don't know if I should arrest her or fall in love. And Catwoman turns around, it's like, that's the problem with you guys. You always think about your piece, or how'd she say it? You never know if you should grab your gun or your piece. And she whips the guns out of both their hands and they run off. But the part that gets me going, Batman and Penguin are having this, cock-sizing match. And here she comes just doing backflips, and she jumps in front of him, and she just goes, meow, kaboom! Blows the store up, and, she doesn't care. She's just like, meow.
Yeah. Okay, so you watch the first Batman movie, 1989, Tim Burton Batman, and you see Kim Basinger. Kim fucking Basinger, she was like the it girl of the fucking 80s, You had Sidney Crawford, you had Kim Basinger, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you watch it and you're like, yeah, Kim Basinger. But then you get to Batman Returns and you're like, holy shit, fucking Michelle Pfeiffer.
She's got like the big old eyes, her mouth is always open, like this crazy, she almost looks like the cat from Alice in Wonderland, like a female Alice in Wonderland cat.
Yeah.
Like, she plays that part well.
Like I'm proud to say that Michelle Pfeiffer kind of got me a bit more excited than Kim Basinger did in the original.
Well, it's funny, and that's Catwoman kind of made Batman forget all about Kim Basinger. He mentions her once or twice when they're hanging out.
Yeah,
but Catwoman's all like, "Wow," and he's like, "Yeah, Catwoman." We're on a pussy hunt now, aren't we? And it always the thing I never really understood is why she put the aerosol cans in the microwave. That scene for some reason always stuck with me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that obviously 3 cans of aerosol spray in a microwave isn't going to cause an entire store to blow up. But whatever, I'll buy it. It's cool. It's fine. I'll take it.
So for my 6th round pick, I'm going to go with Batman Returns, Catwoman, meow, explosion in my pants. Money shot. This is Batman money shot territory, buddy.
Okay, you know what? I feel like we should do the character in and of itself. We should do the character some justice. For my 7th round pick, I'm going to go with the moment that started it all. For my 7th round pick, I'm going to go with Thomas and Martha Wayne getting shot in Crime Alley.
Yeah, that's a money shot pick.
That's where it starts. How many times have you seen it? And it's still kind of gets you a little. How many times you've seen it? Let's see. There was, there's the animated series. There's the Nolanverse series. There's the new Gotham show had its version. I mean, you've seen it. I don't know how many times, but every single time it still gets you a little, because that right there is the moment where, I think even in one of the Batman comics, he said that's the moment I became Batman. That's the moment that Bruce Wayne died.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Gotham scene they showed because I think they get shot like in the first or second episode, and the kid just basically screaming at the top of his lungs with his dead parents.
Oh, it's the first 5 minutes. It's the first 5 minutes of the first episode. It's his parents getting shot. And I thought about it, and I thought about, what version is the one that kind of hit you the hardest. And for me, I'd probably have to go with that Gotham version.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, because the other ones are always really they're more cutscene-y.
Yeah, they're kind of cutscene. Like they get shot, and the camera kind of like it cuts to them getting shot, and it cuts to them falling down, and it cuts to the killer, whoever that is. And some it's Joe Chill. In Tim Burton's, it's Jack Nicholson. I mean, but in Gotham, they get shot and they fall down. And yeah, I think it's that scream. I mean, it's the performance of that kid, because that kid fucking just knocked it out of the park.
Well, and I think what gives that a little bit more credence too is he's not Batman yet. He's just a kid. And all the other ones, it's Batman remembering this. So Batman's already Batman.
Yeah.
But in Gotham, it's, this is a kid that just lost his parents in the most horrific thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, even in the comics, I think the comics kind of do it almost like a movie kind of flashback kind of cutscene where it'll cut to a panel of the pearls falling, and it'll cut to a panel of both of them lying there and whatever. But yeah, that one in Gotham, I would say, probably kind of hit me more than the other ones. So there you go. There's my money shot. It's the moment that without that moment, we have no other 6 moments.
That's a good pick. I would have never guessed that would be the pick you would have come out with. That
yeah.
Is, All right, so for my 7th round pick, I mean, what would a draft with Sean be if he couldn't throw his Ninja Turtles into this thing?
Oh.
So very, very recently, there's been probably the greatest crossover of all time, and it is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossing over to team up with one of my other favorite characters, Batman. And I mean, I don't think you've read any of the comics yet, but basically,
I haven't. And I would say it's, I can understand why you'd save this for last, because you're like, there's no way this is on his list.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what's fun about this comic is it really puts the Turtles and Batman almost in kind of the same level, because the Turtles break into the Batcave. They figure out how to get in there, and you see Michelangelo riding the dinosaur, and he's going on like, this is what I've always dreamed of. And there's another scene that's pretty funny where, because they come into this Gotham universe, and they're fighting this Batman guy, and they think Batman's bad, and Batman thinks they're bad, of course. And so Michelangelo's sitting there in their sewer, and he's like, all right, so this Bat guy, let's go with the pros and cons. The pros, he has a really sweet outfit. The cons, he punched Raphael in the face. I'm only a few issues into it, but, it's one of those things that, they made the crossover work. Here pretty quick, you're going to see Arkham Asylum open up. So you're going to get to see like Joker fighting the Turtles, which will be awesome. You'll get to see Shredder fighting Batman, which will be awesome.
Is the series still ongoing, or is the story arc still going, or?
Yeah, I think it's 6 issues, and I think I've gotten through 3 so far. But I mean, it's one of those things that the Turtles have done a pretty good job of crossing over. Like they crossed over with the Ghostbusters, and it's the whole interdimensional type thing. But I mean, this is something that I would have never dreamed of getting. It's a DC, it's a Nickelodeon owned property, and they've got them crossed over, and it's like I said, you get Michelangelo. There's they do some of this like the great Batman scenes where like the Dark Knight Returns where he's jumping with the new Robin.
Yeah,
they do that kind of shot with him and the Turtles. There's a shot where they're all kind of doing. I think it's again from like. I think it's The Death of a Family, maybe. It's a scene from there, but it's Batman with the Turtles, and they're eating pizza, and he's telling Michelangelo not to talk with his mouth full. So it's kind of a fun thing. It's different. It's a 6-issue run that, isn't going to be, nobody's probably going to make a movie about this, but it's just kind of a cool little, thing to be like, yeah, that's kind of fun.
I mean, honestly, like me when it comes to, I'm you with the Turtles is me with Batman or me with Star Wars, I think. But honestly, I think, I might have to actually kind of, I might possibly pick these issues up. I don't know.
They're definitely worth reading. I mean, they're pretty funny, and like I said, it's one of those things that works. Like, it's not like they exist in the same world, which always seems kind of weird to me. But it's just one of those like, oh, hey, the Turtles somehow fell into the Batman universe. Oh my goodness, the Shredder in this, he basically is like the badass villain in this universe. He goes into Penguin's iceberg bar place and is basically like, listen, you fuckers are working for me. If you don't like it, my Foot Ninja are going to kill every single one of you. So those are your choices. So for my 7th round pick, I'm going to go with the Batman Turtles crossover.
That's pretty good. Not bad. I was actually surprised you didn't go with Batman versus a shark, because that's happened.
Yeah, I was scared of that one too much, though, because, that shark, bit him hard. But, some of the big things that I had on my list, I had Batman where Joker is born, so where Jack Nicholson becomes the Joker.
Yeah.
I had the New 52 where Joker gets a new face. In that New 52 series, he had his face cut off.
Oh.
One that was kind of borderline was going to be a goofy pick, but the Skylight entrance from Batman Forever, where Jim Carrey throws lines like, your entrance was good, his was better.
And then there's that one guy that's like, Batman!
Yeah, exactly. I rewatched that. He's by, what's her name in that one?
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman. It's Batman! He's like reaching over her. And then the robbery scene in the opening of The Dark Knight, obviously that was great. And then one I'm surprised you didn't pick was The Dark Knight where Batman beats the shit out of Superman.
It was on there. I'm actually surprised you didn't pick it, because I think when we started talking about the DC animated movies and how they're really good, you were the one that really talked up The Dark Knight Returns. And I vaguely remember, or I kind of remember the comic, part one and some of part 2. I don't think I even finished part 2, where he really kind of fought Superman.
Oh yeah, it's at the end. He's like, I want you to remember, my hand at your throat. I want you to remember the one man who beat you.
Yeah.
He calls him Clark too. He's like, I want you to remember, Clark. He's like, oh, fuck you, Superman.
I know it. And you ever notice, like, whenever Batman talks to Superman, he always calls him Clark?
It's like a child, putting him in his place.
Whatever, Clark.
Go put your glasses on. Go put your incognito outfit on, you douchebag.
You can't have contingency plans to kill each one of us off. Whatever, Clark.
Did you have any other ones that you had on your list?
I did have the Batman v Superman and the Dark Knight Returns. I went, like I said, since I vaguely remember the comic, I went with the DC animated movie. So it was The Dark Knight Returns Part 2, which the comic for Part 3 came out, and I really, really want to read it, but I think I need to go back and reread Part 1 and 2, even though I know the story, but who gives a fuck? So I had that. There was a speech in the Batman animated series. There was an episode called "The Man Who Killed Batman," and it was about this little wormy, like super low level minion gangster guy that something happens where Batman gets thrown into the river or whatever, and everybody thinks that this is the guy that did it. And the whole episode is from his perspective, basically dealing with all these people that thinks that he's the guy that actually killed Batman. And towards the end, he runs into the Joker, and the Joker, is basically like, holy shit, Batman's dead. He's like, and he gives this speech Like they have like a little makeshift funeral and they have a coffin and Harley sitting there, like crying into a napkin. And Mark Hamill's giving this speech about, today's the day the clown cried. And, he starts out talking about how much Batman meant to him. And he's like, and then some little wormy guy decided to end all my fun. So I think we should take that man there, put him in that coffin there, and drop him into that acid there. But then Batman shows up and saves the day and saves the little wormy guy. So I had that. I had the death of Jason Todd.
All right, well, I'm going to run through a little recap real quick. So for your first round pick, you had The Killing Joke. Your second round pick, you had Justice League Batman Stops Ace. Third round pick, you had Batman Arkham City, where you feel like Batman. Pick number 4, you had Batman 66, a little Bat Dance.
Bat Dance.
Pick number 5 for you, Richard, was Batman versus Darkseid. Number 6, you had Doom, his contingency plan, and your 7th round money shot pick, which again, you had Thomas and Martha Wayne getting shot in Crime Alley. All right, for my recap, for my first round pick, I had the 1989 Batman, I'm Batman scene. For the second round, I had Batman Court of Owls, get the hell out of my cave. And then Alfred with a shotgun. For my third round pick, I had the Dark Knight mob scene. If you're good at something, don't do it for free. For my fourth round pick, I had the opening of the Batman, the animated series cartoon show. Fifth round pick, I had the Batmobile. Sixth round pick, I had Batman Returns, Catwoman, meow explosion. And my seventh round pick, my money shot, is the Turtles crossover with Batman.
I mean, you had to have the Turtles. I forgot about that Turtles crossover until you mentioned it.
It was the first one I wrote down. All right, well, do you want to throw out any Richard's closing thoughts as we close this 16th ever pick, our 16th ever draft?
Well, that whole Batman v Superman is coming out, and I'm not trying to take away from Superman. I mean, solid hero. He's got some powers. He's had some cool moments. But I think what we can both definitively say here, he's no Batman. And I think we both know how the movie's going to kind of go. But in the back of our heads, we're both going to be like, Batman totally kicked his ass. He totally did. He's just a guy. But he... And from what I've heard... This movie is supposed to so impress people that we are now getting a new 3 solo Batman movie. So yeah, there's my closing thought.
All right.
Superman's cool, but he's no Batman.
All right, well, I'll do a little bit of housekeeping. Go to our website. We're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter. We're at languageofbro. Email us at eatthebeaver@languageofbromance.com. Like us on Facebook. And check us out on the Pocket Cast. It's an iOS, Android, Windows phone application. And subscribe and leave a review on iTunes and Stitcher.
And don't forget to check us out on the Pod Bros Network.
The best podcast site on the internet.
And they all love Batman.
Yeah, they do.
Because if they didn't, we wouldn't be on it.
And if you're in the need for some headbuds, go to tweakedaudio.com. Use the promo code LOBARMY. You get 33% off. All right. Was there anything else before I close her out?
No. I am spent.
All right. Well, that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Sean.
And I'm Richard.
And I say we eat the beaver on the same bromance channel at the same bromance time.
I just found the new way to end every single show we're doing from this moment forward.